but sickness in the world. Oh yes, therefore I explain. If you let worries take charge of your brain, 10 to 1 you'll end up like a louse. Start stirring mad in the crazy house. That's why you never ever worry. Don't mind how things looking hard. I tell you, never ever worry. Don't mind how you're suffering bad. I tell you, never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. Anywhere you turn, somebody's suffering more than you. Never ever worry. Don't mind how things looking hard. I tell you, never ever worry. Don't mind how you're suffering bad. Never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. Always consider somebody suffering more than you. Never ever worry. Don't mind how things looking hard. Never ever worry. Don't mind how you're suffering bad. Never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. Anywhere you turn, somebody suffering more than you. Never ever worry. Don't mind how things looking hard. I tell you, never ever worry. Don't mind how you're suffering bad.
Yes indeed. Yes indeed. A pleasant good night to all and sundry, East, West, North, Central, our friends in Tobago, and wherever you are, streaming on the World Wide Web. Pleasant good day to you. Of course, this is the 4th of September already. I want to say, of course, Joshua will not be joining us tonight, unfortunately, because he fallen sick, ill. I think he was playing a bit in the sudden inclement weather that he would have been caught up in. Didn't seek shelter and therefore protection, and so of course having been exposed to all of the viruses that might have been arisen or would have been irritated. Today, of course, we went together down Marabella, and he was, of course, lying in the back seat the whole time. And on his visit, after a good meal, a hearty meal, of course, in Marabella, he then said he wants to go to bed, and never, of course, returned. So I know that he is ailing, and of course, it's only right as a young child to give him the chance to recuperate. But that being as it may, I want to also say that I was pleasantly pleased. I didn't know that it would have had such an impact already. But his presence, Joshua's presence on the program already has begun to generate some discussion. And I want to say positive ones, because only today his mother told me that a good friend of ours from Malabar, so he would know who he is and that family. I consider him to be a sort of advisory guru on matters of things that would assist more or less in the promotion of the program from a commercial perspective. We are yet, of course, to, let's say, put all the nuts and bolts together in order to achieve some kind of income generation for the program, because as you would have known by now, the entire thing is carried by my own pocket and those who are sympathetic to issues that we raise on this program. And you have other persons who simply wanted to make certain that the social media presence is such that it can edify, it can educate, and of course it can disseminate information that is uplifting and relevant to contemporary, and of course at times we have to go back in the past in order to understand why we are where we are today, and of course to carve a future. And therefore, of course, that particular person, he intimated to my wife that his daughter is, I don't want to use the word that he used, but is excited. I don't want to say the word that he used, but excited that Joshua could be on a nightly basis here, and suggesting that she would like to be here too. And I thought that was very interesting, because that was one of the objectives. Because the folks around here, believe it or not, they have been so, what I consider to be dispossessed, and their motivation is so wanting, and their whole sense of self-esteem and a sense of self and a sense of, well, if somebody else in a different environment can make it, we can make it too. All of that is either existing or lacking, depending on your perspective. And what we want to do is to make them know that right from among them, the geniuses can emerge. Right from among them, the future bankers, the future lawyers, the future pilots, the future doctors, the future nurses, the future engineer. As well as, of course, we are not going to decry and be one-sided or mono-focused, but the future good garbage collector, a good mason, a good sartorial artist. That's a big-time name for persons who are engaged, of course, in what we call seamstressing and tailoring, etc. And, of course, good electricians or good air condition unit experts. And I emphasize good, because you want to be the best. Whatever the profession you eventually may take as your own and engage in, to do what? To make an honest living. To make an honest living. And so, of course, education is critical in all regards. Whether you want to be a doctor, you want to be a scavenger, you have to have, or you want to be a mechanic, you want to be a carpenter, you must have knowledge. Otherwise, why would somebody want to spend their money to give you, to provide a service that you are unprepared for, you are uneducated on, and therefore projecting at the end of it all a charlatan, and of course will make you more poor, because as that reputation of being a charlatan, of being, of course, a quack, pervades the society, I bet you $1, you will become sooner rather than later persona non grata, and therefore you may have to, of course, scavenge for your daily sustenance, eat the leftovers from others, when, of course, you could be either creating your own or purchasing substantive meals that could sustain you. So the best thing to do is to make sure that you learn your work well. I thought it was important, of course, to say that. And, of course, just to reinforce it, let us go back to that piece of music that, of course, was part of the introduction tonight.
Some people in the world today don't realize that worries don't pay. Let the people in the world today don't realize that worries don't pay. Resting the worries upon your shoulder, only bringing you older and older. These wicked things that people just do, they don't realize you have worries too. Tell them to never ever worry. Don't mind how things looking hard. I said to tell them never ever worry. torture. She told me as a matter of fact to fling all my troubles behind my back. Keep in touch with the Almighty for guidance, love, and serenity. She said to never ever worry, don't mind how things looking hard. My granny told me never ever worry, don't mind how you're suffering bad. Granny tell me never ever worry, what I'm saying is true. Always consider somebody suffering more than you. This one happened a few weeks ago, which bad. Why down in Togo, a fella wanted to commit suicide. You know he ran quite down by the wayside. Only a fig the man had to eat. He eat the fig and threw the fig skin in the street. From the time that the fig skin fall by his feet, the fella snatched it up and started to eat. And he told him, never ever worry, you feel that things really hard. The fella tell him, never ever worry, you feel that you're suffering bad. Yes, he told him, never ever worry, what I'm saying is true. Presently you could see somebody suffering more than you.
Yes, indeed, of course, and the best part of that particular presentation I like is when, of course, the fella thought he was in dire and abject poverty, in abject need, and of course, he almost wanted to give up. So he had only a banana, and he's eating that and consuming it and saying, oh gosh, I have nothing, and he threw away his skin. And then somebody picked it up and consumed it. And then he realized how much he had and that there are others who are in greater need. Oh, what a beautiful moral story. And therefore, never, never, ever worry. Because somebody suffering more than you. But what we want to do is to eliminate all sufferings. Let us, if we have to suffer, let us suffer equally. And equally here means that all of us will be working in unison to, of course, overcome the suffering, poverty, and all of the other evolutionary processes experienced by sections of the society. I say sections of the society because there are certain sections, that 1%, who do not and maybe cannot, because they would have had generational wealth provided to, of course, their successors, or should I say their siblings, or those to come after them. So wonderful story indeed. But I want to say, as tonight's program is focused and entitled Education is the Key, in order to, of course, emerge, extricate oneself from the rigors and the drudgery and the evil of poverty, and therefore ignorance, as we said last night, as expressed by the mighty sparrow. Education is critical and key. Yes, I thought I should put up, of course, little Joshua's picture. You will notice that the one you're seeing right now is the one where he, at 10 years, is meeting the Honorable Prime Minister at the 100th, should I say, day of this administration. But 10 years ago, he was, yes, you see him in her hands. You see him in her hands, yes. I should pause it when that comes, so you comes around, so you you will appreciate what is happening there. So 10 years ago, he was a tiny tot, yes, in Kamala Prasad Bissa's hands. And then today, of course, he's presenting her with a picture of when he was a tiny tot, when she held him 10 years ago at the country club in 2015, yes. Of course, that election she lost, but of course the thing has come full circle, and today, of course, she's now being praised by, of course, young Joshua. I know it's important a little bit. I don't vex with me if I'm showing off a little bit and so on, but you know, but reality is reality as well. And of course, I know that in your own circumstance, you will have flashpoints moments that you would want to, of course, share with, or hope you can share with the wider national and international and regional community, but maybe don't have the means, or you have not yet decided how you would present it. Well, you can send it to us. You can send it to us, because one of the segments that we'll be pursuing are opportunities like that, particularly for young folks. And of course, I don't care whether you are from the upper echelons of the society, from the middle class, or from the lower class, and some say underclass. I say to you that all of us have the potential to be the best in whatever field that you either would have gravitated to, or choose, or life circumstance, or would have generated as far as your destiny is concerned. But what is important and cannot be overemphasized and override is that passion for nationalistic fervor and your contribution to your country. But the first element, the granular element, the fundamental element is, of course, nestled within the family structure. And then, of course, as you grow, and all of the, what I consider the institutions of social control begins to take root, and you adjust and acclimatize, not those where you end up in jail or in the hands of the police or before the courts for the wrong reason. If you're going before the court, I expect you're going to be there because you are a lawyer, or because you are a magistrate, or because you are a judge. I expect that. But of course, all of us are not that what I consider to be gifted. But what I'm sure of, everyone has a gift that can, of course, contribute to the development of Trinidad and Tobago. That is where we are. That is why I am saying to the people of East Port of Spain, Lavantel, Beetham, Sealats, etc. I'm hearing, of course, some of the gripes. I had to be naive not to, especially if I am in the belly of the whale, so to speak, or put another way, if I am in the stomach of the most, what I consider to be vulnerable, the poorest, the sociologically and economically deprived, not depraved, deprived. I will use depraved for the moral and ethical, what I consider to be decadence of people like Penelope Beckles, and of course, and her bunch of 12+1 in the parliament and those outside. Because suddenly they have a sense of self-righteous indignation. Suddenly they have, of course, what is called moral and ethical convenience. Yes. So we have to dismiss that and be discerning, lest, of course, you fall victim to that. I want to also say, too, that because, and let's face reality, the present government has 26 seats, and some says 27. Some, I would like to say 28, if that 27th seat is not Lavantel East Mova, because of the way that the EBC has responded to our request for original copies of the tally sheets of all 41 polling stations where votes were cast. They said no, that is not available. That is not that it is not available. I shouldn't say it that way. That is not what they said. They said they don't give that. But I say that is wrong, and we are pursuing that course of action that was taken by the EBC, because we suspect that Lavatil East Mover might well have been as far-fetched as some may say that notion is, and believe somehow that it's pie in the sky. We never could tell, but the conduct of the EBC in this regard, if it wasn't so, tells a story. It tells you that they have something to hide, and we have to get to the bottom of it. So whether it be that the margin of defeat for my candidate was smaller, or in fact, I want to be as objective as possible, or larger, I need to know. You need to know. The population needs to know. And the EBC cannot be a cloistered, what I consider to be foundation upon itself, and will of course try to hide information like that in a democracy that says transparency, accountability, and of course the rule of law and common sense must prevail. Let us not waste time. So it is against that background I'm saying that we have to pursue. I am not talking about reversing the results. I would accept that the results is what is. But I am entitled to know the details. I am entitled to every single tally sheet, the original tally sheets that came from the 41 polling stations that was returned to us. We have a copy, but of course we didn't have 7 persons in the various polling stations as, of course, election agents. So we don't know. We don't know what might have transpired. And out of transparency and accountability and out of an abundance of caution, I think the EBC has an obligation to say to us, listen, we are going to provide you with copies, not the original, but copies of the original tally sheets. And so long as that is not so, and you're prepared to give us, of course, some digital printout, and not the tally sheet where people actually put their handwriting and so on, and the presiding officer signed and signing off in that particular polling station, we are going to pursue and we are going to accuse the EBC of some kind of underhand attempt to hide information, because that is the natural consequence, or put another way, one of the consideration that we must give because of that clandestine tendency to not give us the copies of the original. I want to say this as well, that in Guyana, the incumbent has returned to office. Mr. Ali, President Ali and his team, the PPP, has returned to office there. I'm saying so on this occasion because Ms. Nasser Scope, the chief elections officer in Trinidad, headed a CARICOM observer team in that country to observe that elections. So she, of all people, should understand. And she was in fact part of the upheaval, the to-ing and froing, the questionable results. I think it was 2020, the last elections in Guyana, where of course the results was overturned by the appeal court right here in Trinidad, the Caribbean Court of Justice, asking for a recount, and it turned out that the incumbent then tried to steal the elections, as we have, of course, identified in Trinidad with respect to the PNM and Rowley in 2015 and 2020. Yes, we have. And Rowley, of course, with his audacious and obnoxious and belligerent and strident, verbal and literal actions to tell us in non-certain terms that he ain't bringing no international observers here. Well, Trump showed him that he had to do it. Why you think he hightailed out of the office of Prime Minister so soon? It's income Trump, and out goes Rowley. Rowley, yes. And of course from some backwater place or physical area in Trinidad, he's now bellowing somehow to believe that what he has to say has any relevance. Well, it is osseous. It is null and void and of no effect. He is Jurassic. He is now obsolete. And his statements on national issues are vacuous. And I'm being kind. Because when he was in government, he was nasty. He was aggressive. He was atrocious. He was misogynic against women. And he displayed the worst of any statesman. And as a consequence, is now the most hated, whilst in office and outside of office, citizen in this country, and worse yet, as a prime minister. Rowley has that record. As of course, he has had so many broken records. Broken here doesn't mean a literal record, you know, those wax record where you break them. No, I ain't talking about that one. I'm talking about records where every year in crime, every successive year, it more and more murder records. That's what I'm talking about. So therefore, that is not a record that you would want, of course, to associate with. But he has that, and has the audacity, the temerity, the gall, the effrontery, and the bold-facedness. I'm sure, even though, of course, he's on social media, but I can see that he would have a plump face without a smile, pretending to be serious, and of course bellowing those pieces of hogwash, and of course utterances that has no relationship with reality on matters, whether it be Venezuela and Maduro, and of course the present Prime Minister's position on the conflict between the United States possibly and that of Venezuela, let me put it that way. Even though, of course, they said that they are not in any conflict. It's only, of course, Maduro is not watching over his shoulders because, of course, I'm sure Ibamsi is palpitating to see that the warships of the United States is right, of course, on his, should I say, maritime border. So, of course, he's palpitating. And all of them, of course, that are part and parcel of that, what I consider to be dictatorial and autocratic bunch that has seized government for too long in Venezuela. And I have no difficulty with, of course, regime change. Regime change will mean having regard to the stance that Kamala Persad-Bissessar has taken as far as the Trinidad and Tobago government is concerned. We will be sitting fine. We will get, of course, the Dragon deal eventually. Because you see, if you sow poison seeds, the fruit could only be poison. Well, that is what Rowley and they did to us. Poison in more ways than one, because of course the whole question of the amount of money that was invested in getting that aborted deal called the Dragon deal. I mean, it's shameful, I'm sure, but in due course the budget is to be read, and we will get all of that, I'm sure. Yeah, a bird's eye view, and of course a grandstand position on that matter. So people, the lines are open. I know that my introductory remarks should say would normally be given some consideration, and I want to say that the lines are open 337-6940. The line, in fact, and of course you have another number that is coming on your screen. We have adjusted, of course, the notation on it just to say that. that number, call Annie, is 336-6594, 336-6594. And of course, if you want to assist us in whatever way, or you would want some kind of assistance, then call us, and if we can do it, we certainly will. So I want to tell you that all is well that ends well, and that of course we have a duty and responsibility at the end of the day to treat with these matters as we see fit. Yes, indeed. So the lines are open, and of course the line is open, as I said, and you can of course make your calls now. But I want to go on to one or two other topics that we had intent of addressing, but could not have because of the constraint of time. And I'll put it up for you to see. I see that a call is coming in. Let me just. But in the meantime, I think we have lost it. So in the meantime, let us look at it. I want to show you, of course. All right, let's go straight to the line. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor. Let me see. What's happening here? What's happening there? What's happening? Why are we not getting you? I'm seeing something here, but I'm not seeing it on the system. All right, okay, let's go again. What's happening here, boy? Try again, caller. Try again. Let's see if we are having some technical issue. All right, good. It's looking good now. That's amazing. What's happening here, boy? Let's see. Why are we stalling tonight after such a wonderful resumption? Let me just put another alternative in place, just in case. Let's put an alternative in place. Of course, so for those persons who were having questions with respect to, of course, my son and his preparation, no, the whole idea is to generate a live, and sometimes what I will do, and you'll see me doing it, I will just pick a chapter for him to read, because when you are familiar and you become very versatile, you will now be able to respond appropriately to whatever material that would have come your way in terms of reading, whether it be mathematics, whether it be science, etc. And therefore it is important, and that's how you know how much a person would know, because you can go to any part of the book, for example, if you're reading, and say, read this paragraph for me, or read this page for me, and then of course when they make mistakes you just correct them, which I expect you will do at your home as well. So those who didn't understand why that what I consider to be liberal view, or that what I consider to be unrehearsed, is very important as a lesson in itself. All right, let's go to the line. A pleasant good night. Are you hearing me?
Good night.
Good night. Sorry about that. I ain't getting you on the system, boy. So we have to take you. Yeah, go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
You hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear. Go ahead.
This is Mr. San Fernando.
Yes, Mr. Salvador. Sorry about the problem on the system. But go ahead.
Yeah, no problem. I was calling the ground report this morning, but I couldn't get through.
All right.
And I was, whilst listening to it, I think one of the callers was talking about a grandmother who had a granddaughter.
Mm-hmm.
And, what had happened is the whole pension went down in mining the granddaughter.
Uh-huh.
It goes down in mining. And I should tell you the level that we have reached to in terms of when the economy is not being managed well and money is not being trickled down to the lesser class then. Well, I shouldn't really put it in that way, but you understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah, definitely. The fact that it's not being spread, like butter. Yeah.
But apart from that, now I want to say, well, I was very hurt by hearing the story, but that's how it is, really.
All right.
But apart from that, after looking at the ground report this morning, and I think I wanted to go and clean out my workshop. But just before I turn off the computer, a clipping on the boat that the U.S. had shut down turned up on the computer.
Okay.
And I decided to look at it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And apparently it came from, now I didn't take the name of the individual who did the video.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is that apparently he vexed with Trump.
Okay.
Right? And
yeah.
he is saying that what he was saying is that this thing is not about the drugs. It's about Trump. And he was cussing on the video too,
Okay.
Right?
Right.
But my point is, right, he talked all this sort of talk on Trump and whatever, and then he close to after about 5 minutes, he decided to show you the clipping where the boat was speeding across the waters, right? But when I was looking at it, I said, that boat have plenty speed.
All right.
You know, in my mind, that's what coming into my mind.
Right.
That boat have plenty speed. Now, what the interviewer was doing, right? He was saying that it's a small boat, right?
I see.
It doesn't mean nothing. It doesn't mean anything because, you know, what the Americans going down in Venezuela to really do to take out a small boat. But if drugs is a big business, that big business we talk and it's a threat to the Caribbean or any other part of the world, right? Because drug runners, you know.
Yeah. They have no mercy. They have no sense of sovereignty and respect for anyone and any place.
Right?
Yeah.
But my point is this, right? It's a small boat, yes. But if you look at the tape, that tape very carefully, and you see.
Mr. Faisabad, just hold on. Just hold on. Mr. San Fernando is on the line. All right, just hold on.
My point is.
Go ahead, Mr. San Fernando.
My point is.
Yes.
How the Venezuelans going to get the drugs out? You think they'll put it on a big ship to ship it out?
Right, I hear you.
They gotta find a way to ship it out.
Yes,
so
yes.
the very thing to do is to put it on a fast boat and get it out to wherever they want it to reach. So the Americans were quite right in taking out the boat.
Right.
You understand? Because if you put it on a big boat.
Yeah, because there could be some transshipment arrangement on the waters. Yeah. That makes sense.
You understand? You understand what I'm saying? So the Americans were quite right to take out anything that is coming on that waters from Venezuela.
I hear
Right,
you.
the big one small, but that one happened to be a small one.
Okay.
You understand what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
definite, yes.
So people going down that road and saying, it's a small boat.
Yeah, well, you know, you're going to have all these conspiracy theories and so on. You have all that asset there that has all that modern technology and that situation there, the Americans had to concoct it. Come on.
Yes, come on.
Yeah. To justify what?
Yes. My other point is this.
Go ahead.
Last night I went, and the second point I want to make is this. Right? I kind of hit in on everything that I can hit on it. Right? The second point is this. Last night I made a contribution concerning Penelope Beckles, where she did the same thing as Rory, right? But let me just go down another road with Vishnu and Paul.
Yeah.
In that same meeting in Pleasantville, Vishnu and Paul said that he was part of several budgets under UNC. 2010 to 2015. Or even before Winston Buchanan, right? He was part and parcel of all those budgets. But also again, I want to show you, right, all of them doing the same thing, the same way with email gate. Then he come and do the same thing yesterday.
Right.
Right? Vishnu and Paul did the same thing there too. Where was Vishnu and Paul between 2015 to 2025? Yeah, follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All of them contrary. You understand?
Yeah. Because he would have been, of course, snug, whether hideaway or otherwise in the bosom of the PNM.
Right.
In that period, yeah. Go ahead.
You understand?
Yeah.
So my point is this. They were running the now a lot of people even saying that okay, you expect Kamala take over now, and people behaving as though Kamala took over and when she took over she suddenly people all the money or some kind of thing, but that's impossible to do, But that is how people operating as though all the money suddenly disappeared. But it was disappearing. Or it was going down in corruption between 2015 to 2025.
Right.
I hope you understand what I'm
Yes, definitely. They are guilty as hell, the bottom line. Let's go to let's go to Mr. Faizabad at this point in time. Thank you very much. Yes, indeed. Yes. Mr. Faizabad, go ahead. Sorry about that.
We're sorry. Your call cannot be completed.
Mr. Faizabad? Mr. Faizabad?
Uncle Lennox.
Yes, man, go ahead.
Then I hear like your money turn on your phone. I hear the call can go through.
Right.
So I guess right now I want to know, according to WhatsApp, and they say the call can go try have enough funds.
I hear you, my friend. I hear you. Of course,
all the listeners and all the sundry, east, west, north, and south. All you see Uncle Lennox money run out again. Uncle Lennox, please help Uncle Lennox. Drop a little thing, as you say, a little cacadella. Please, help him. He had a light bill. Just imagine. I hear his son reading with candle fly. Not candle lighter, candle fly in a bottle. Let Uncle Lennox stay a light bill and buy a ball for the boy to read that.
As you talk that, boy, I had the public internet bill to pay tomorrow, yes, boy. I forget that clean. But
is that the reminder about the bills?
Yeah, God is love. I'm sure that some good Samaritan will come to the fort and assist and to the rescue, because, I mean, it's for those young people. That one is not for me. That I've made it available to the wider community. And they're outside there right now, of course, doing what they have to. I hope that it will aid those persons who would have gotten their laptops, that they'll be able, of course, to stay in their homes and in their apartments and so on, and do their work with, of course, being connected. That's the whole purpose of that. It's for positive things. Of course, there are those who are going to do it for nefarious things, but you can't study the nefarious things when there's so much positives to be derived from providing such a service. Go ahead.
So I will take that cue. So all listen to this contribution tonight, your listeners, because I'm going to vex with Uncle Lennox. No, you just talk about the PNM and the UNC there again, because here what's going on. The PNM take this country and make so much a nasty mischief. They make the kind of mischief they make. Penny is just a window dressing, a dolly where you see fall out from a Christmas box. And the child didn't like it, and she pelted it at her husband. That is Penny, right now leading the PNM. Because just imagine, Penny like she going mad.
Yeah, all of them. It seems to be contagious and endemic of the PNM at this point, and for a long time now, because since under Rowley we have been saying that they are the orchestrators and the authors of their own demise, and the PNM will become extinct in the fullness of time, relegated to the dustbin of political history, as we often would say on this and other platforms. Go ahead.
Just imagine Penny telling me in a public meeting that people, when the PNM people go, they had to wait 2 years. They had to wait 2 years to get the social grant. And UNC now they make a good 120 days.
Well,
Can you tell me
confession is good for the soul, whether deliberate or otherwise, or whether she thought that she was making some kind of, common sense, but of course, generated some political currency for herself and the PNM. But it turns out that, of course, who the gods wish to destroy, they continue to send them mad.
And she talking the truth what the PNM do the people, neglect them and nothing for them. And just had a make a quick makeshift program.
Yes.
But Uncle Lennox,
Yeah.
I can't see. It had nearly how much, nearly 5 families get licked up in Arima. The little children and them. Under the PNM. They get killed. People storm the house, shoot them, kill the children and them. And you know, the mainstream media kill that story just like how they kill each other and them. The mainstream media kill that story. But you know, 11, some people, we don't know where they're from. America, move them out of this map, wipe them, push them out of the map. You know, the mainstream media talking about that, and every day for the last, they're making a week now, they're talking that is news. But I want to ask the Venezuelan ambassador in Trinidad.
Yeah.
Since the mad people in Venezuela say the economy is very good and blooming, just like the PNM, like how Keith always say in Trinidad. What are they doing in Trinidad here? What are they still doing here? Why they come here for, and they're doing the working here for? They're supposed to run back home because they're flourishing and everything is green and grand and nice. But you see, mainstream media and Penny, they're sounding like they're affiliated, like they have a drugstore. Like that is the other thing. Them selling the free drugs. Because the other thing, because somebody had to tell them that, hey, all the talking in the middle of the crack, and here what's going on. You know, when the PNMs take money, public funds, and spend it, you know, it's well spent for the taxpayers. But you know, this one before I go, if you ever call this Scotland, like what you do last night, as you get called Scotland. Yeah. You know, when Rowley say, who dead, who live, give here a break. You know, mainstream media tell nothing about that. The crime wave, no, cannot say, kill them dead, making sure that when they kill them dead again. Penny talking about standalone legislation. We have any standalone legislation going on in this country? It's stand your ground. The poor woman making herself a fool. I want you to know that Stuart Young will be the next leader of the party. And Uncle Lennox, you talk about the dragon gas.
Yes.
You see how thirsty it is? And they're trying all out. But the supporters of the PNM have to understand, for the last 10 years, and this last 2 years, when they tell us that they're getting the dragon deal, nothing for them, suffer them, and had them like dog, and looking for something and tell them, we not the government, and it's not a right that this is just your pension is not an entitlement. And you're going to cut the health care by $200 million. You see why it is that the Revenue Authority and property tax is to tax them same unemployed people to down to the smother to run this country. Where all our money going, Uncle Lennox? All our economic, and then telling people, wait till 2028. But you see, they know if Maduro move from there, just like how Biden moved from the United States. You know, if Maduro move from there, the thirstiness and the greed for what they do to the country for the last 10 years, it will be there. So I want to answer them and tell them that, Uncle Lennox. And you know, a vent, McCraw empty, but it's still full. Uncle Lennox, here what's going on. You know, 18 babies dead in this country, right?
Yes.
Weather report. Uncle Lennox, you know, Mark Lukwan spent $135 million. Weather report and get killed.
Wow. What happened there, boy? What happened there? like we got cut off, boy. It gone mute. Let me see. What's that? Why is this mute? I seen a mute. I seen mute on the system. Let's see. Oh, no. I seen mute on the system, so I don't know if it's on your side or on my side, my friend. But call back if it's anything, because for sure, like last night, it appears that you seem to have incomplete presentations as from last night. All right, and let me just. All right, good. Let me just go again. I just see something came up mute. Are you hearing me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, like something went wrong suddenly, like last night. But go ahead.
No, it's not that, Uncle Lex. I want to tell you listeners how you're a street manner.
Not me, the technology. Exactly. It appears to have a life of its own. when you are on a row or you have taken charge. But go ahead. We're back.
No, Uncle Lennox.
Yeah.
I'll remind you. You say you put it in a device for me that when 2 minutes up, you'll cut me off automatically. I take my cut off, but I'm glad I won't call us the phone.
No problem. I will take my accuse.
No. And you say put in a device that we'll keep it short and sweet. So I try to run on everything you talk about it. So I know you'll cut me off again.
I hear you, my friend. I hear you.
But tomorrow night is a lucky thing to take a break tomorrow night.
Oh, yes. Tomorrow's Friday. Yes. So we had a very short week, yes. But this week is a sort of test run, so to speak, to see how we can, of course, implement some of the new things. So we are doing that in the process, using this period, the last 2 or 3 days to do so. All right, that's it?
Yeah, and the recommendation was clean, nice, and okay.
All right, great.
And the callers on them. So I will give way for your
Other
thoughts.
callers? All right, good.
Yeah.
No problem.
That's a good night to everybody.
Yes. Same to you. All right, let's go to the next caller who is on the other line, the handset that we have put as particular mechanism in place to bring it to you without having to put it at the microphone in studio, and of course subjected my friend to subject me to, of course, what I consider to be an appropriate criticism, that it looks unprofessional. But I had no choice. I had to improvise. But now that is not the case. Pastor, good night. Welcome, of course, Mr. Mr. Tagarigua, sorry. Yes, man. Yes. Loud and clear, my friend. Loud and clear. Yes.
And he ended up taking out the map of Guyana and tell them.
Yeah. He withdrew the map, in fact.
Yeah, he said, this is the map of Guyana.
Yeah.
And all of they know that. In other words, he's telling them, you come here to tell me what? I must give my two Peter and Chicago. You think you want to hear the kills on them? Or anybody in Gary come along? You don't want to hear that for them?
Yeah.
Just so you tell them, he said, all of they know that. So when they want to encourage you might give Maduro Pisa Chicago. And then the kids talking and said that crap about Carrie Company tonight. And we got to be talking and look.
Well, it is clear that they are talking about things that they know nothing of. That is clear. Yeah. The level of ignorance and stupidity, I mean, is amazing. It is unfathomable for people who said that they went to university at least, and of course either some kind of doctor has earned a doctorate or a legal profession certificate. But go ahead.
Yeah, and that we talking, well, oh God, but she still have a child in school, and I didn't listen to she. I know what she's talking about. But you know what I want to talk about, Lennox?
Go ahead.
I hear a call on the go report this morning call. An elderly person I say that the camera talking about. when you reach Sept, you have to take a defensive driving test. That's true.
I am not aware.
Right, because
And why would that be? I mean,
the best drivers on the road is the elderly drivers,
yeah,
the older people,
yeah,
these young people who are driving on the road now. I had calls yesterday morning to stop and talk to one of them, you know. He behind me blowing up, so I stop and I'm on the guy, you know me.
yeah.
I said, what's your problem? I drive it too, so I never tell you something. Right? You know what is the speed limit on this road? It's about 80 kilometers. Is you a mad boy? Are you mad or something? He say, Heinz, tell him that. This is close to Narada.
Yeah.
He say, Heinz, Heinz got help for the highway. If you have a phone, pull it out. You will see 31 miles, you will get 31 miles, you will see 30.
Right.
But you got to 80 kilometers, you will see 31. Right?
Right.
So when you say, are you watching all these buildings on both sides? And you might hear 80 kilometers, that is why you were with you, right? And all the, but Lennox is not here alone. All the drivers on the main road, there's all the driving truck driver, gas, truck, all kind of thing.
Yes.
The government needs to address that situation. You have no white line on the main road. You need the white line on the main road and the speed limit signs, you know.
Yes.
If Kamala want to that's what they should address.
Yeah, and that is one of the problems of Trinidad and Tobago generally. Yeah. We build these nice edifices and these nice buildings for whatever reason, and infrastructural, of course, improvement, but there is no what I consider to be timely maintenance, preventive maintenance. It is something and a culture that has developed both in terms of the private sector and the public sector. That has been my observation over the years, and we need to, of course, address that because these things could last longer. It could be greater. It could be of greater benefit because the challenges of possible harm and danger because of the structural integrity of these entities may well wither or become emaciated as a consequence of being overexposed to the elements, because that is what creates wear and tear on infrastructure, buildings, etc. Is really the elements: rain, sun, heat, and of course cold, etc. So therefore, you need to have a maintenance, timely maintenance culture and attitude across the sociological and socio-economic spectrum of this country. But go ahead.
Yeah. You have to address this situation on the road.
Yes.
No white line in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
No speed limit sign. You must.
And that contributes to what? To accidents.
Of course.
That could be avoided.
Yeah, they go all about.
Yeah. Because remember, in such circumstance, it is not far-fetched for a fella to say, listen, I was on my side because there's no white line to give an objective, to give an objective presentation of the situation that may have been the subject of an accident. So you're right. You're quite right.
And not only that, there's a fatal accident today. Some young girl died,
Yes.
And the police talking, and these police themselves know what they're talking about,
Right.
When you're driving with your glass up in your condition, and you're driving with all that speed, like how you just driving.
Right.
If they're winding on the glass, and show past the driving, you'll get frightened, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You need to wind on the glass.
Yes.
Then you're going to pass, you're going, that's why when your match breaks, you're crashing out.
Yes.
Because all of them in your condition.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll have to say that there is a speedometer that you could glance at from time to time. That is what I do. when my little old green wagon, I mean, I have no difficulty because no matter how I press, it don't go beyond 80. But but my other vehicle are pressing the same way that I was pressing with green car, and suddenly I seen 100 and passing. I said, what? Nah. So please people, take a glance at your speedometer. That's all you need to do. Go ahead, if you wind up, yes.
Very well going south to the blue car.
Yes.
I was in the front seat, yeah. You know what I was watching,
yes, I remember that, yes. And you were saying, boy, you drive fast, boy.
Yeah, that's all I could say. I said, you Johnny Johnson.
But you don't know that the vehicle ain't going beyond a certain speed.
But, so, I say right now,
yeah.
they have to address the situation on the road.
Okay.
So look at the point you bring up. A man could easily say I was on the right side because you know where the right line is.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he doesn't know where the right line is. And of course, another accident preventer is putting solid lines on the edge of roads that may be emptying, if you want to call that, or at the edge of, let's say, a drain. You know, that in itself could create some problems for motorists, particularly in the night, when of course, even though they have bright lights or whatever condition of the light is at that point in time. So therefore, all of those are preventive accident preventive measures. Yeah. Yeah, and like by time, of course, that is crucial because it separates you from the oncoming or the opposite motorist. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the loud music, loud music years ago.
Yeah.
I can't say loud music and loud music. Yeah.
Well, I think that is a development. I don't know if they could cut it out because young people are so inclined. I remember I myself, when I was a bit younger, liked me hard music as well, but it must be for my private purposes and not to disrupt others. But if it is causing people to be callous and not, of course, keep their eyes on the roads, because if your ears is dysfunctional in such circumstance, your eyes must take up the rest. So you have rear view mirrors, you have, of course, internal and external on either side of the vehicle. So you must be much more vigilant now, because one of your senses, which is the hearing sense, that would prevent you from hearing a vehicle coming or going, or as the case may be, you should be able to be much more alert.
Watch me. Right in front of the house this morning. A man come out the car. He go for that blasting music.
Oh, ships. All right.
Yeah, the television was bring it. I started driving listening to that behind me,
Okay.
And the fella turned on the music. Man, they outlaw that music long time.
All right.
I need to hear them Lennox. Song with music with your mother this and your mother that.
Yeah. That is Trinidad music. Trinidad music is obnoxious. Yeah, Trinidad they call it. Yeah.
That music.
Yes. No doubt.
Oh God, man. So let them come and them do something about the roads and address that situation. Don't talk about fellas safety and over to take defensive driving. Who can take defensive driving on that road?
Yeah, because I think I heard a portion of the Gov report this morning where a caller said that the senior drivers are much more cautious and they do not cause accident. So why would you want to why you want to make her overkill? You want them to be more cautious than how they are. They don't cause accident anyway. So what is good? You leave it alone. You leave good alone.
Yeah. A lady called and said this morning on the Gov report.
All right. Well, we'll take a look at it, and we will, of course, inform accordingly.
Yeah, that is the Christian kind of joke thing.
Yeah. I suppose, but part of their propaganda to show that somehow that intention is to oppress a certain section of the society, I suppose.
Well, all right, we go
Yes.
talk.
Okay then. Thank you very much for your contribution.
I will call you if I think about your jail.
Yes, man, and feel free so to do for in the time.
Yeah,
Yes. Don't forget, of course, people. We have tomorrow is no program. Tomorrow is my hiatus or my sabbatical, and of course I will be at Spargos as usual, having of course, let's say exercise or exercises that would at my age and so on, and and only natural for a human being to flex the muscles, so to speak. That's the way I do it. Some people call it aerobics, right? But the fact is, because some people call it aerobics because around Carnival time or just before Carnival, you see a lot of them around the savannah and so on with their loud music, and they are doing exactly what I have been doing every Friday almost from time immemorial. Let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night to welcome to the corridor.
Good night, report.
Yes, good night, my friend. Good night, my friend. Freeport.
Well, I hear you good, eh? You're carrying Mr. Takarikwa for a ride, and you just pass me straight.
I hear you. You see, Mr. Takarikwa got me in trouble. That was supposed to be a secret, but since he exposed me, I had to find ways and means, of course, of simmering down the embarrassment that it would cause. And I see that it didn't do much, because here it is, you came on, and I have no difficulty. Well placed, my friend. But go ahead, give me your contribution tonight.
Yes, well, I was listening to contribution about white line and street light, but the PNM never had a intention of maintaining anything. They mash up everything from school to hospital to road to everything. So we have to work hard now, because there's plenty work to do for this new government, and everybody wanted no, you can't get everything now. You have to put things in place. And this one, this Dwayne, calling him, but he's saying that he know the government don't have no money, but he is the one who finished the money. When they came into office, they made billions of dollars, and they say that was 3 days to run the country. And now he cannot say how much they leave. So that is a big problem. And this Giselle Jackson again, calling out all the Indians she calling out in every one of the ministry. I don't know what she have for Indian people. What is she problem with Indian people? And I don't know what is Masha Walker problem. Masha Walker have a terrible problem. She look like she's suffering from some kind of disease. She have a problem with the Prime Minister and the UNC. Every God day. So, this problem is just a racial problem that's going on in this country with some of the people. They're showing you how racial it is. But before 28th of April, we never used to hear this kind of thing, like the volume of this nonsense going on now. And Miss Penny Beckles, the young lady from Pinto Road in Arima, if you're hearing me, 25 years ago, she applied for a house. And you took all she paperwork and you didn't return it. Because I was trying to assist that woman, because when I went for my prosthetic leg, she was somebody who used to help me,
Okay.
So now it's time to help she back. She don't know what to do. So I do some investigation.
Mm-hmm.
I talk to my people, and they said to tell she to go to HDC or which one of the entity and ask for a copy of everything.
All right, okay.
So you telling me this woman keep this lady documents for almost 25 years and she cannot get it back. She didn't get the house, she can't get the paperwork.
Wow.
And them just want to come and open their mouth now. And for 10 years, their mouth is closed. Now she wants Miss Kamala Prasad Bisesa to explain everything. How she wasn't asking Stuart Young and Rowley and Imbert and Faris to explain what they're doing. So this thing is a one-sided thing. Or otherwise, they have no sense. They've done see it for my part. And like the 13 of them is the same problem they have there. They're supposed to look around them, see what's going on, and try to work to better the country and better the people in this country life. They're not doing that. They're making life harder. Now they know all this the previous education minister. Now she know which school want repairing and they want it now and what you was doing for the 10 years. You didn't know what going on?
But let me ask you something, Mr. Freeport. Do you think
Yes.
that they understand that they are simply digging hole for themselves to fall in by making these ridiculous, not just statements, but couching some kind of accusation to prevent themselves from being culpable or preventing them from accounting, having regard, one, to the fact that they were there for over just about 10 years, and two, that the present administration has been out of office for a similar 10 years and is now in office for just about 4 months. What you think is their thinking? How one could be so stupid, in other words? But I want to hear from you.
Stupid is a very decent word. They're dotish.
I hear you.
All of them dig the hole already. Every one of them.
Yeah.
They're just ashamed to fall in it. And that is the problem that's going on.
But the other question follows, however, is that if they are supposed to be intelligent people, and I have no doubt because of their level, their claimed level of education, then is it that they believe that the people of Trinidad and Tobago are so stupid to absorb that as reality, those fantasies and those what I consider be nonsensical statements that they are making? Do you think that they believe that Trinidad and Tobago has not grown, is not that educated, is not that discerning? Do you think is that why they continue to proliferate and to intensify that kind of what I consider to be insulting remarks?
Well, you are. They feel the supporters still stupid, but a lot of them.
Oh, their supporters. All right, okay.
They feel their supporters stupid, so they could do them what they want.
I see.
But a lot of their supporters, get smart.
Oh yeah, because over 100,000 claimed by Penny that has left them. But go ahead.
Right, because right now the PNM walking on the left side of the highway, and there's some of the supporters walking on the right side. So they realize now, in that 10 years, they realize who is the better person to follow.
Right.
And they leave them out. And that is the problem with them, you know.
So they're really in a state of abject, what I consider to be a state of delusion, a state of desperation. And really, just to use a simple word, they're just clung in. They're clung in.
And you know, not one of them making a sensible contribution, not one,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It seemed to be endemic of them. It seemed to be pathological almost, as if they're sick with stupidity.
They're sick with dotishness. Because you could remember when Rowley between 2010 and 2015, Rowley signed not supporting the government on nothing. And it looked like these 13 people decide to continue the same thing. They're not studying about their constituents. Let me work with the government to better our constituency.
Yeah,
That's all they had to do. Because they can't do nothing unless they create a riot in this country and they get Maduro to come and overthrow the government and reinstate them back. That is all they could do.
I want you to go to the top of the class for that statement, because clearly they are fishing. They are experimenting, if you want to call it that. They are speculating that the hogwash that they speak on a daily basis somehow could captivate a certain section maybe of the population, and maybe some of those that have abandoned them, and somehow they could, by that mechanism, get back into office in the shortest possible time. But to me, that's a pink donkey. They will never see, never materialize, because you have people like you, and you have, of course, programs like the Corridor Transformation, the Ground Report, and, of course, the Observers and others who will focus and disabuse, of course, those kinds of what I consider to be simpleton behavior and expressions that has no meaning. Now, I am not going to be naive, because they are parliamentary representative of some significant, potentially, if taken it to its natural course and given what their intent are, could create some difficulty for Trinidad and Tobago, because they control the constituencies that are closest to the seat of power, and the public and the administrative center of the country. Are talking about Port of Spain, are talking about Laventille, are talking about the Diego Martins. So we have not to be naive that if we only become complacent and reticent, and not, of course, see them for what they are, and to even tell those constituents and those constituencies where the opposition dominates, so to speak, or control, that they must not engage in the self-serving agenda for them to get back into office, only, of course, to do they as well the evil, many of whom have, of course, abandoned them, 100,000 according to Penelope Beckers. But go ahead, my friend. I thought it was important to understand and to send a message to the government that is the agenda, and that has been so. And why? There is precedent for it. The NAR suffered that. The NAR suffered that. Go ahead, my friend.
I want to tell Penny and the other 12, if it's a pink donkey they're looking for, they would never see that. They would have to paint that donkey in pink. And if it's a donkey like mine, they will get a real kick. Because donkey is kick.
Or they may clog the paws and suffocate.
Right.
Suffocate because the donkey, because they wouldn't be able to, of course, exude the sweat that would normally, the perspiration that would normally come via those pores in the skins. But go ahead.
Right. And that pre-budget consultation, we was in the savannah. And I see what happened to those people around the Port of Spain area.
Yes.
Because a lot of them break down in tears. And why? Because the representative who used to be PNM representative for those areas mistreat them, bad treat them, didn't care about them.
Yes.
And that is what caused the people to change. And a lot of people were saying that day they want the UNC to take the Port of Spain Corporation.
That is an imperative. That is a must. You must do that. Any government that doesn't eventually control the seat of power and the main administrative center of the country, the capital, having regard to what we know of the PNM and what they are prepared to do and what they have done, there is an imperative that they must, of course, control put it in good administrative hands, and that is what the next local government elections will be all about. Getting Port of Spain in the right place, and of course the regional corporations of Samuel Laventil and that of Diego Martin. Now of course have been recently been designated as a borough.
Right. And the next thing, Lennox.
Yes.
I don't know if you could talk to Ms. Kamla Prasad Bisesa and Ms. Vandana Mohit to look into this social welfare entity. Things not easy for people like me and others. Because the amount that when you go in, I went in there just after the election because I talked to my representative and they talked to Ms. Vandana and she asked me to go in there and I went in there. If you see the long list of things you have to get some help beds.
Yeah. I too have my very, very, very deep concern having regard to my association with and the advocating for the downtrodden and those who have been either dispossessed or part and parcel of the what I consider to be the underclass. So I give a class beneath the working class, the underclass. And there's quite a lot of them. And let me give you an example that is practical, because I love, as I often say, experience is the best teacher. After the 28th of April, that is to say after the last elections, we opened right here on George Street what we call the Empowerment and Resource Center. You paid a visit, so you know, but it was opened, of course, officially by Philip Alexander a couple of months ago, several months ago, and I will tell you that when he came to open it, we had 400 registered for different social welfare assistance. Now the question of the displaced persons, as far as the absence of what I consider to be casual, or put another way, make work programs such as URP and CPEP and so on, all have closed simultaneously for good reason. But one expects that those persons must be fed, they must eat, etc. And therefore the Ministry of the People and Social Development ought to take up the slack. But to have cumbersome pre-qualifications, if you want to call it that, or criteria, I think I share your view. I saying all that to say I share your view that the criteria must be lowered in order to, of course, capture the new reality, and that the desperation of so many persons otherwise who may not be as desperate if European CPEP and so on was operating. Let's not waste time. Of course, we understand the exploitative nature of the PNM, in that they want to exploit, of course, the workers, when in fact the issue is about the small amount of contractors, just about 300 of them, that was supposed to be the focus, but they spread the dragnet to encompass them in order to gain sympathy for their nefarious agenda. So we understand. But the point I am making, in spite of all of that, the Ministry of Social Development ought to be able to be sensitive enough and adaptable enough. And of course, given the nature of the people-centered agenda of the UNC and the coalition of interests, one would have expected, even though the minister we have interviewed on the ground report, and she said that they are working on it. I think working on it is not, unfortunately, the words that most people will want to hear. What we will want to hear is that it is being worked upon expeditiously, one, and two, that by now we should get a rolling out that would be equal to recognizing the desperate nature of the situation at this point in time, and at the same time averting the onslaught of the PNM 12+1 agenda to try to exploit the situation in order to get back into office, because these situations are real. Go ahead, my friend.
All right. You know, I had asked a guy who looking after his sick mother to talk to you.
Yes, you did, yes.
Right. That boy trying to get some assistance from social welfare, but just because of the mother getting a pension, he cannot get. And he had to left his job to see about his mother.
Yeah, those things have to be revised. That kind of strict here has to be revised, because it's not real in a modern, contemporary 21st century Trinidad and Tobago that talks about making sure that no one is left behind. It is simply not tenable. Go ahead, my friend.
And that boy had to use his mother pension, because here what happened, the mother does have to go to the hospital very often, and he have to hire a taxi. So how many things and so many medication he does have to buy?
Yeah, but listen.
How much thing you could do with $3,500 a month?
I don't want to preempt you, but I had a case only yesterday. A very, what I consider be stalwart, but in East Port of Spain, should I say, admirer of the Prime Minister, and has been active. She has found herself in a situation where she is a senior citizen. She has to, and of course she has some complication. What we get to find out in COVID to be comorbidities. So it's either heart, his liver, his spleen. It is just, and then she has a dysfunctional eye as well. One of her eyes is not functioning as it ought to, and she told me that the tablets, she is living on $3,000 maximum public pension grant, and here it is. I shouldn't say a grant, but of course facility, and here it is. She went for that purpose of trying to stay alive a little longer, went to price a box of tablets. I think she gave me the number. I think it's 27 in it, but that is costing $1,800. 18. So let's say it's 2,000. So $2,000 alone in one kind of medicine. So you remain with $1,000
to live on.
That's the point. You may have to. I'm sure she's paying some rent because it's a agency apartment. She has to be paying some kind of rent. But it's $100 or what it is, and then of course she has to eat. She has a son, a grandson that she takes care of with that money. He himself, of course, he has one lung, meaning that they had amputated one due to a surgery that they got in the United States. Courtesy, just in case, because there are some people who are physicians say, well, if he could go to the States, they're assuming that she could send him to the States to have a long surgery. But I want to tell them one time that it is a sister of hers that is living there that, of course, she was coming to Trinidad and decided to donate the ticket to the guy, and of course make all the arrangements in, I think it's Canada, for him to get that life-saving surgery. I want to be clear there, because there are some people who, without information, will just jump to conclusion that makes the people who are in it feel as if they ought not to be to find ways and means of prolonging one's life on this earth. And sometimes people like me who are cynical will say, well, listen, it should happen to you, and let me see how you go think. But go ahead.
Yeah, well, this is what I was now going to tell you.
Yes.
Who not in our situation does have the most amount of thing to say?
I'm telling you, and so
Because here what's going
inhumane.
on. If that person went to Canada to get a surgery, that don't mean to say the mother had money or the grandmother had money to send it.
That's right, but they would
Corporate
say that.
citizens.
They would say that. They would
Right.
think so. I had to be. So when I'm talking about these things, I had to deal with that one time, and I had to caution Andy as well when he is making or revealing in situations like this, which appear on the one hand that the person has the resources to do that. So therefore, something like the PNM, PNM will see a person wearing a gold chain or a gold earring and say, well, listen, or a nice dress, and conclude that person is well off and should not be dependent on welfare, and the situation could be far from it, because you don't know what circumstance caused her to be wearing a earring that may have been donated, or some mister may find her attractive and give it to her, but she will flaunt it, of course, because she has it. But those in the welfare offices and so on will conclude that somehow that person could take care of themselves, because here it is, they come in to the office with a pair of gold earring. So what they should come with, a pair of cut out plastic bottle and put it into the pierced air in order to look the part that they believe is the right criteria for a person to be in order to, of course, get social welfare. That is hogwash, that is obsolete, that is asinine, that is without, of course, any proper investigation or just joint conclusions like that. And that is happening throughout the system. And a fellow like me must know and will know, and I've made it my business to know. Go ahead, my friend.
Well, it could happen like me. Because 2 years ago, I wasn't in this situation.
Uh-huh.
So the person who have the gold chain and the earring and whatever, probably 15 years ago, they had a better life.
That's right.
And something happened, just like how it happened to me. After the 2nd of October 2023, my life went downhill.
That's right.
So
in
I
more ways
know
than
about
one.
that. I could understand that.
Yeah.
Right? So, these people who have, let me say, $2 in their hand, they feel that is all. But you just know what I meet you never pass you,
Yeah. But the point I am
Right.
making, I'm studying the people who would have had a few dollars and find themselves on hard ground or tough times. I'm talking about the insensitivity of the administrators of the welfare
Simple.
program in the different departments under the auspices of the Ministry of Social Development, and in this case, of course, of the People and Social Development. They have to be much better trained and much more sensible to not to draw these kinds of conclusions based on what you would have seen coming before you, because a person may want to dress nicely in order to out of respect, etc. It does not mean that they could put food on the table on a daily basis, or they acquire the nutritional requirements to keep them at least living a healthy and, of course, psychologically what I consider to be beneficial life. Come on. And these kinds of discussion we will be having on a regular basis on this program, because they have to understand that we are our brother's keeper, and that you are given, of course, a particular job that is altruistic in nature, that is humanistic in nature, and that all might be glittering but is not gold, and therefore you cannot be presumptuous, but you must take it as you see it, and that you do not fit all in the same cut cloth, so to speak. There cannot be one cut and fit all scenario. And these people are supposed to be experienced. So if not, then I suggest that the ministry get rid of them. Because they believe somehow that the money is theirs first and foremost, but even though they are there to manage it according to certain criteria, they must do so sincerely, and they must do so objectively, and they must do so with the highest commitment that they are attempting to, of course, improve, ameliorate a certain circumstance that a person may find themselves in, as you have, of course, testified tonight, my friend. Go ahead.
Yes, and well, from the time I see something and I see people having problem, I just try to reach out to them.
Yes, indeed.
This last week, I saw a girl in the same position with the boy that I recommend to tell you to call, tell him to call you. She had to left her job to see about her father.
Wow.
She went to apply for a little assistance, but the father had a couple dollars in the bank, and they said no, they cannot give them nothing. So what they want to spend out the little money in case of an emergency, they wouldn't have nothing.
Wow. Yeah, and that was the same thing that the PNM tried when they go into somebody's bank account to see that they have 50,000, and they therefore say that once you have 50,000 in the bank, you are not entitled. That is the same stupidness that I think Cockburn in a local government scenario in Belmont, when she said, but listen, we took away 11,000 food cards, and she was beating her chest on that. But more importantly, she said, and to justify, she said, listen, a policeman was getting a food card, and she summarily dismissed that. She doesn't know that if the man, no matter what his circumstance, and whether he's getting a salary that is compared to others that are not getting it, but it may well be that the officer at the time, because they were criticizing, of course, the UNC, and I expect them to revert to that kind of empathy, that kind of sympathy, that kind of understanding of people's circumstance, because she don't know that fella may have overdone it. His virility might be so widespread that he may have 3 and 4 wives, but more importantly, he may have about 10 children, 2 or 3 with each one, and therefore his salary cannot stretch. Those are some of the real circumstances for that. Other than that, you as the officer must assume that a person would divest themselves of their dignity and their pride and come and beg alms, come and beg the ministry. You should be taking the position that says, I'm going to put you on the system, but if it turns out after our investigation that you're trying something, then of course we will throw the full book of the law at you if it is that you try to deprive someone else of this service. That is the kind of thinking and the kind of attitude, but more importantly, the kind of conduct one expects of these officers in these very sensitive positions where they are attempting, of course, to give not a helping hand necessarily, but a hand up out of the quagmire, social and economic, that people might have found themselves from time to time go into the Ministry of Social Development. What's your closing remarks? Because it is time has passed upon us. It is 9:45, and I always try to keep the 9:30 appointment, so I'm 15 minutes late already. Go ahead.
All right, well, here what happened.
Yeah.
That policeman situation, I don't know if it's the same policeman, right? He had a disabled child.
You see what I mean?
And
That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Go ahead, yes.
And I don't know if he and the child mother was together or he make a mistake. The child was underage. So they couldn't put nothing on the child name.
Right.
I don't know if he and the mother was together.
So they give him it in order to, but really targeting the child.
The child. It was for the child.
All right. But thank you very much.
As I said, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if he make a mistake and put it on his name or he and the mother was
together. Yeah,
together,
that's what she was boasting in Belmont about,
right?
Cockburn. I don't know where they get this cock talk ministers in the PNM. If it's not Cockburn, it's Donna Cox. I don't know why.
Well, here what? Before I go,
Yes.
instead of they look at that, why they don't look at these people and them who getting food card and driving Benz and Hilux and Prado
That
and
is
have
where
big old chain? How them getting it?
Yeah, that's where
Right?
your effort should go in terms of dispossessing them or discarding them and putting on more people who, by their mere address, listen, if your address is Lavantil, Beetham, Seelets, and so on, and you go for a walk, whether it's the government service or the private sector, they see you different to if your address may be from an area that are less, of course, known for crime and criminality as designated by the police. So I'm not making any wild accusations or impugning any aspersion. The police said that these are what? Are crime hotspots. So that if your address is Valsain or so on and so on, they see you differently. And even if the person from Beetham, Seelets and so on with that address is equally, if not more qualified, you're sure not to get the job as opposed to the less qualified persons from those. So what I tell them, I was on the radio saying, well, listen, young man and young woman, listen, if you're going for a job, don't say your address is Lavantil, Beetham, and so on. A fella calling and telling me that I am training those children to be dishonest. I say, you damn fool. Let them, if you're saying that, and not just now, I said, if you say that is dishonest, well, if dishonesty of that nature will mean that you will get the job, I will continue to, of course, train them to be dishonest. I think I should close there.
Yeah, well, one more thing.
Yeah.
If these people from Lavantil is dishonest to get a job, when time to vote, why are you going and looking for the dishonest people to vote for you?
Well, that's another story that we could probably take up tomorrow night. All right.
All right. Take care.
Yes, man. Thank you very much, of course, for that very interesting, of course, and intriguing intervention. I think those kinds of discussion will, of course, will make me go over time because, of course, it's a passion of mine, and I've studied it, I have practicalized it, and therefore, of course, I believe that more could be done to equalize the society, and not because of your place of address means that you are what the society and some authorized entities such as the police say that you are. Have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless. See you tomorrow morning. No. Yes. Tomorrow morning on the ground report. I thought tomorrow morning was tomorrow night. So see you tomorrow morning on the ground report, but not tomorrow night on the corridor, because, of course, I will be getting my aerobics. All right? In my usual, of course, what I consider to be watering hole. Bye-bye. See you then. All right, let's get back to where we started. We started with, of course, never ever worry, and I think, of course, we will continue to worry when, of course, we have persons who are so damn insensitive in high places to, of course, create artificially the decadence and I would go as far as to say the criminality, sustaining the criminality, because, of course, let's face it, a hungry man is an angry man, and you could say what you want. It doesn't mean to say that if you are from a poor quarter that crime and criminality is not an option. It is damn well an option. The thing about it is whether you will choose that option, and that is where the argument is. But let's have a wonderful, once again, rest of the night. God bless, and see you tomorrow morning on the ground report. Andy, Michael, myself, and no corridor tomorrow night, but of course on Saturday night as we continue with our new programming schedule, and of course you will see much more. Yes, Joshua ought to be better and will be with me for the first 50 minutes, of course, on the corridor transformation on Saturday. Bye-bye.
Some people don't pay. Plenty people in the world today don't realize that worries don't pay. Resting the worries upon your shoulder, only bringing you older and older. These wicked things them people just do. They don't realize you have worries too. Tell them to never ever worry. Don't mind how things looking hard. I said to tell them never ever worry. Don't mind how you're suffering bad. Never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. Always consider somebody suffering more than you. When I was young, Granny said to me, Ulrich boy, never ever worry, or your problem would seem bigger and bigger, and you'll be living a life of torture. She told me as a matter of fact, to fling all my troubles behind my back, keep in touch with the Almighty,